Subscribe to my sister's channel. She will also voice her favorite plots. Let's give her a big asset. Well, what are we going to do? Why are you asking, Sarutobi? She's a demon, let's kill her and that's it. What are you saying, Danzo? She's Minato's daughter. And she has the blood of the Uzumaki clan flowing in her, and as you know, only they are able to restrain the nine-tailed. Or do you have another Uzumaki in mind? It can be sharpened and stoned, and where is the guarantee that our seals will stand? Moreover, the fourth one probably tried and made it so that it could not be pulled out. Are you crazy? She's a child, not a demon. Shikaku said, and if the others think she's a demon, then I'll let them know. I decided to adopt her, what? The cry was universal and very loud. After all, the heads of clans, 2 Hunins, 5 Anbu, 3 elders and Hokage shouted, "This is impossible. She is the Jinchuriki, the weapon of the village. She should not have feelings, and should be grateful to us that she is still alive at all. No, you didn't understand that. Naruko Nara will be my adopted daughter. And if you remember, her grandfather, the head of the Uzumaki clan, was married to Ai Nara, as a result of which Naruko is a member of my clan and can use the clan genome. No objections?" he asked. Only the elders had objections, but since they were in the minority, Uzumaki Naruko became Naruko Nara. After that, it was decided not to tell Naruko who her parents were, and when she grew up, to say that the nine-tailed was sealed in her and begin her training. After that, everyone dispersed, digesting the news. Shikaku went home, thinking what to say to his wife. Involuntarily, his gaze shifted to the baby, who was looking at him with brown eyes, the same as her grandmother's. She inherited golden hair from her father. I wonder whose character she has. If Minato, then she is cheerful and quiet. And if Kushina, then, my heart feels, I need a lot of new and strong nerves. I hope Yashina won't mind. Behind these thoughts, he did not even notice how he reached home. He woke up only after the question, "Shikaku, who is this?" Looking up, he saw Yoshino with Shikamaru. She looked at the baby in his arms with surprise. Sighing, Shikaku said, "This is Naruko Nara." Seeing the misunderstanding in his wife's eyes, he explained. "I decided to become her guardian." During the attack, Fox Minato and Kushina were killed. This is their daughter, and since Kushina's mother was from the Nara clan, I decided that we could become her foster parents. You don't mind, do you? And, Yashina, she is a Jinchuriki Kubi. Anyway, she's so beautiful. I will make you a real lady and princess of the clan, Yashina said for Naruko. Meanwhile, Shikamaru, who had woken up in his mother's arms, was looking with interest at his sister. Now 4 years have passed, when there was a noise in the house on the second floor. No one was surprised. In recent years, this has become commonplace. To put it briefly, Naruko began to wake up her beloved brother, but knowing that, just slowing down, he could not be woken up, she took and threw the heir of the Nara clan out of bed. After such an awakening, Shikamaru would wake up and get up, muttering something at the same time. While the parents were waiting for their children to have breakfast, Shikaku began to remember. The fact that she was a Jinchuriki was known only to those who were at the meeting in Yashina, so the girl was treated well. The elders did not believe for a very long time that Nara's blood was flowing in her, but because of one case they changed their decision. Flashback. Then Naruko and Shikamaru were 2.5 years old. Yoshino was not at home at that time. Shikaku was left alone with the children. Everything would be fine, but Naruko refused to fall asleep. She wanted to play and have fun. Even then he decided that she was like her mother in character, but, as it turned out later, he was mistaken. After half an hour of playing, Naruko did not calm down, still playing though. And he was already praying. He asked God that Yashina would come as soon as possible. Suddenly Shikamaru woke up and started demanding food. As a result there was a very loud noise. So loud that the elders and some of the clan burst into the room, demanding silence and peace. At that moment, Shikaku was feeding Shikamaru, leaving Naruko alone, which made her cry. One elder began to move towards her with the desire to shut her up. Shikaku was about to get up and save Naruko from him, as we see because the fox sensed danger in her, began to crawl away from the evil uncle. Realizing that this would not help her, she closed her eyes, preparing for the pain. The advisor suddenly froze with his foot raised. Naruko opened her eyes and fell silent, and, like everyone else, looked at the elder. Then she raised her hands to wipe her eyes, but froze when she saw that he had done the same. She let go of her hands, and so did he. She really liked such an interesting game. Continuing to play and laugh, the child had fun from the bottom of his heart, not paying attention to the shocked adults. After 5 minutes, her chakra ran out, and the shadow went to her mistress. Shikamaru, who was looking at this with curiosity and interest, sighed in disappointment. Apparently, he liked the game too. Shikaku, what was that? The elder who was in a state of shock asked. I don't know, Kento-san. By the way, you doubted that she was from our clan and my own daughter. Here is the confirmation that she is the princess of the Nara clan. I believe, now I believe, said the shocked Kento, then turned around and slowly left. Everyone else followed him. Shikaku, along with Shikamaru, approached Naruko. They sat down next to her and Shikaku stroked her head. Then Shikamaru got off his father's lap and crawled up to his sister, then put his palm on her head. At the same time, it seemed to Shikaku that approval flashed in his son's gaze. Well done, Naruko, Shikaku said. Serves them right. End flashback. After that incident, everyone forgot about their objections and doubts. And personally, I was trying to figure out what was the matter. Either she was a genius, or the fox found a gap in the seal. She used this technique quite often, but I never found the answer to my question. Although, I'm leaning towards the first option. Naruko was like the sun, was pure and innocent, which means that she is the genius of the clan. Thinking about the princess, Shikaku did not notice how she went down together with Shikamaru, and how they sat down at the table. Dad, wake up. Naruko? 2 pairs of eyes stared at him. What? We call you, and you are silent and do not react, Naruko replied. What are you thinking about? Just a memory. Let's have breakfast. Yeah. Bon appetit to everyone. Answering this phrase with a nod, everyone began to have breakfast. Dad, come on, you promised to train us. Very well. Shikamaru, wake up and we'll go. Where to? We're going to train. Why? To make you stronger. Why? So that you could protect Naruko. Shikaku did not have time to finish the sentence, as Shikamaru was already on his feet and standing at the exit. Hey, I don't need to be protected, I'll protect anyone you want. Naruko shouted. What are you doing there? Are you waiting for someone? Up to this point, Shikamaru was waiting for you, but no one else. Let's go, Shikaku said with a grin and went to the training ground. Hearing the children mincing behind him, outside the house, Shikaku looked at them. Shikamaru looked lazily at his father. Only a faint determination was in his gaze. The only thing that could make him train was protecting Naruko. Naruko, on the contrary, looked at her father with impatience that he could not fully understand his daughter. He had a feeling that she inherited the character of 3 people at once, Kushina, Minato, and Ai, his aunt and Kushina's mother. The girl was cheerful, with a calm character and very smart, but sometimes she could throw out something that even howled like a wolf. Or, for example, she was too lazy to even get up, but this rarely happened. She got a calm character from her father, unexpectedly throwing feints, from her mother, laziness from her grandmother, but her mind, most likely, from three at once. It made me think. Although about what, Shikaku did not understand that. Okay, warm up first. 25 laps around the polygon, 100 push-ups and squats. Come on, run. Having said that, he brazenly sat down under the nearest shadow and looked at the children. Naruko and Shikamaru were already running the second lap and didn't look tired at all. But there was nothing unusual in this, because they have been training for 2 years. In the Nara clan, as well as in the Uchiha and Hyuga clan, training began at the age of 2. Thanks to this, the clan was the third in Konoha, although the intelligence of the clan also played a significant role. After all, almost every Nara was endowed with the mind and talent of a strategist, and exceptions were very rare. Although, when you talk about their clan, you need to remember about laziness, about a very big laziness, transmitted, like the mind, by inheritance. Shikaku shifted his gaze to his daughter. During these 4 years, she has become like his own, and he has almost forgotten that she is the daughter of Minato and Kushina. Only sometimes the pain of the fact that they are not her real parents pops up sharply in consciousness. Naruko was very beautiful, golden hair gathered in 2 tails, kind brown eyes, pink, plump lips, beautiful body and face, bronze skin. She was very beautiful, especially in the kimono that Yashina dressed her in. She kept her word, making Naruko a true princess. Yashina enrolled Naruko in traditional and modern dances, taught her to compose ikabanas, hired music and singing teachers. Naruko played 2 instruments, flute and harp, sang well. Despite all the teacher's efforts to teach her to play anything else, nothing came of it, proving that a person cannot be able to do everything at once. Now she was wearing white shorts, a blue t-shirt and shinobi sandals. Naruko, Shikamaru, I forgot to say something. Do the whole program 8 times, shouted Shikaku and fell asleep. POV Shikamaru, that bastard, he went to bed himself, and we, train. I looked to the right, I saw Naruko's thoughtful face and groaned in anguish. She's up to something again. So, first you need to try to reason with her, and for this you need to find out her idea. Hey, what are you up to? Yes, I didn't have anything in mind, but under a skeptical look, I continued. I think I should tell my mother that my father was asleep or not. What do you think, Nii-chan? I thought about it. On the one hand, it was tempting to set up my father, saying that while we were training, he was brazenly sleeping, but on the other hand, he would recoup himself at the next training session and drive us so that we would only crawl to the room. I think it's better not to, I answered cautiously. Parents will then quarrel, father will be offended and will not teach us techniques, I expressed my opinion. Nodding, Naruko ran on. The training continued and ended in silence, then a new test began, to wake up our dear father. We suffered for 5 minutes, almost losing our voice. I was scared when I looked at my sister. A terrifying aura emanated from her. It seemed to me that just for a moment I saw a fox behind her back, which clearly had no more than 1, but as many as 3 tails. Blinking and shaking my head, I looked behind her again and saw nothing. I must have imagined it. And also, judging by the look, the father will regret that he dared to fall asleep. And as if to confirm this thought, Naruko went to the bag and took out her mother's favorite heavy cast iron frying pan from there. My jaw went to meet the earth, and the thought began to form in my head, I didn't understand, did I drag her here? But now it's clear why the bag was so heavy. While I was thinking, Naruko came up to her father and hit him on the head with all her might. Personally, I felt sorry for my father. The awakening followed immediately. Damn you. He began. But he was interrupted. What? Nothing. NPOV Shikamaru POV Shikaku, well, the awakening. I will not wish this on the enemy. No, well, it must be like this. I'm sleeping, I'm not touching anyone, I'm resting and suddenly they hit me on the head, and who? Naruko. I wanted to start swearing, was interrupted by a question, remembered that you can't swear in front of children. I started to myself. I decided to see what my beloved daughter hit me on the head with. I looked, saw her favorite heavy cast iron frying pan in her hands, and was blown away. And this creature is portraying innocence in full Dad, we're done warming up. At first we tried to wake you up in a different way, honestly. And how did you try to wake me up? Well, at first we yelled, then we started kicking you. But, as you can see, it didn't help. Okay, so now I couldn't finish, because Anbu appeared next to me and quickly began whispering in my ear. All right, kids, go home quickly. Npov Shikaku, he said it and disappeared, Naruko muttered. And what was that? He disappeared. Naruko, it was a rhetorical question. I know. Well, shall we go home? Yeah, Hokage-sama, did you call? Yes, Shikaku, we were just waiting for you. An outsider or a traitor appeared in the village. Did you call Hokage-sama? Yes, Shikaku, we were only waiting for you. Someone has entered the village or a traitor has appeared. What do the censors say? Hyuga asked, what makes you think that? Inoichi also decided to ask. Two of our shinobi are dead. We don't know what's going on, it's almost impossible to find the culprit because of the approaching fair, a lot of people have come here. What orders? Be careful to keep an eye on people and report anything suspicious to me, Anbu and Ibiki. Is everything clear to everyone? Yes, you can disperse. Shikaku stay. After waiting for everyone to come out, Hokage continued. Shikaku, I have suspicions that all this is not for nothing, it's better not to let Naruko go anywhere alone. By the way, how is she there? Yes, what will happen to her? Damn, she's with Shikamaru now, they're going home. What? We had a training session, Anbu came and I sent them home. I went to Hokage-sama, while nothing happened to them. POV Naruko, training is down the drain. What can I do? He can go to Ino and make ikabanas and bouquets with her. I think this will be the best option, you just have to ask your mom. Hey Shikamaru, come with me to Ino, and why should we go to her? To make ikabanas and bouquets. If you want, you don't have to go, I just asked it. We'll see, nodding, went on, Naruko, can we cut it off? There are so many people on the main street right now. Good. She answered indifferently. The mood was not very good, the training was cancelled, there were still 45 minutes before the expected meeting with Ino, and the rest was not interesting to her, and it was lazy and problematic to look for something interesting now. Maybe she looked like a completely atypical Naru from the outside, but the reason for this was the promise of her mother. And she's still a girl and didn't want to get fat from being lazy all the time. And the girl hated diets with all her soul. So, I have to train. And the image of an active girl with her appearance meant to be the sun, who always smiles and gives warmth to others. ENDPOV Naruko. They walked along the alleys between the houses to shorten the journey time and stay in silence. Yar, who is this walking around here? Little kids and unattended. Looking ahead, they saw a man of about 40, dark red hair, stubble and the smell of sake. In general, his appearance did not inspire confidence, as did the appearance of his friends, apparently. Well, hello Naruko Nara, or should I call you demonic brat, if you think about what to do if there is news that you want to tell, but you can't. So he was tormented by this question. He was an elite ANBU, he respected the fourth. And for the first time he wanted to break the order, this demoness, a little brat, who killed his child, which caused a miscarriage and the death of an unborn child and miraculously survived his wife. He tried to stop thinking like that, he tried for 4 years. I remembered that she was the daughter of the fourth Hokage, that she was just a Jinchuriki, a prison and a cage in one person, and not the demon herself. That the demon is trapped in it and cannot escape. But looking at the grief-stricken wife, the graves of children, friends, relatives, on their own grief. Hatred boiled up in him. He had heard that at the age of 2 she was able to control the shadow without seals. Not one Nara could not do that, at least one seal was needed. He looked after her after that. She laughed, smiled, lived, studied without suspecting that after the destruction arranged by the fox, not all the problems have been fixed yet, not all the destroyed buildings have been restored, the economy is still shaky. And calmed down like hatred woke up with renewed vigor. He couldn't stand it, he told 4 of his friends, former shinobi who were injured because of which they are no longer in the ranks. He knew that they would kill her, he hoped for it, wished with all his heart. Alas, not everything went wrong. 2 shinobi suddenly found out about it and had to be killed. There was a plan and he wasn't going to change it. After looking around and making sure that he could not be heard, he said, "Now this brat will be alone, her brother does not count. With Shikaku, I'm going to a meeting about the murders now. This is your chance." Bodyguards? Shikaku didn't think that he would have to leave and no one would accompany them. "Good luck to you," they nodded and walked out of the alley they were in, onto the main street. And Anbu, after looking after them, moved to the training ground of the Nara clan on the outskirts of Konoha. "Sorry, we don't understand what you're talking about," Shikamaru said carefully. "Really? And if you want, I'll tell you a fairy tale. A fox attacked the village 4 years ago. He broke out of his cage named Uzumaki Kushina, Jinchuriki also calls them, during childbirth. And he began to smash the village. Everyone is fighting trying to keep the beast, and there is no 4th Hokage at all. But here he appeared with babies in his arms and a wonderful wife, which the fox did not keep. They threw him behind the villages for 100 meters and sacrificed their lives to save the child and the village. The ceremony was performed by sealing the fox. The ceremony was performed by sealing the 9-tailed fox into a baby who was their daughter. And so the council decides what to do with the girl. That Jinchukiki has become a cage for a demon. Yes, and the inheritance of parents needs to be cleaned up, that is, to take it away. They thought to kill the demon, but her grandmother was the aunt of the head of one of the clan. He stood up for the demon, accepted him into the clan, called him a daughter, or rather a twin sister of his own son. Yes, that's the problem, the girl's appearance stood out a lot. But she was able to use the clan genome, proving that the blood of the clan really flows into her. The princess of the clan lives happily for herself. Well, how do you like the fairy tale? And the kids? Another one asked. Povshikakadam, a trader in the village. And Shikamaru and Naruko are alone. Devil. Well, why didn't I put a bodyguard on them or move them home myself? And here's the house. I burst into the kitchen. Are your kids at home? Oh, no. But you went to train with them, what are you asking? I howled quickly after telling about everything. I ordered to inform all members of the clan that they must find the children. And he went to look for them himself. He found them 15 minutes later, with 4 corpses lying nearby. The children themselves, huddled together, their hands were covered in blood, and tears were streaming down their faces. I'm frozen for a second trying to figure out what happened here. Spitting, he picked up the children and carried them to Inoichi. Seeing his dumbfounded face, he explained, attack, killed. Read their memory, you need to understand what happened, and I'll go tell the Hokage about the corpses. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Having disappeared, he appeared in front of the Hokage, quickly telling where the corpses were, as well as what he himself knew, and disappeared back to the children. He looked questioningly at Inoichi. There was an attack on them. So it's not their fault, they killed them themselves. And they know, those four told. We need to go to the hokage. Now we need to move them to Yashina. Taking them in his arms and moving home, he gave them to his wife on his arm and went to the hokage. Everyone who knew the secret of the fox was already there, except Danzo. We demand an explanation, the elders shouted that, my children have been attacked. They were almost killed, and they also told about the fox. Here I have a question: who has such a long tongue here that ordinary shinobi have learned secret information that I already found out from whom? Danzo entered the office. Before he could finish the sentence, one of the ANBU twisted the root, he told it. He decided to take revenge by killing Jinchuriki. Sarutobi, I can take it. Danzo's proof. We have read the memory of those four shinobi. Good. I believe you, you can take it. How are your Shikaku children? In shock. They're with Yashina now, can I go? Yes. I will say the verdict on this ANBU in 3 days at 10 o'clock in the meeting room. Nodding, he went home. Along the way, he heard rumors that had already appeared. I heard the children of the head of the Nara clan were attacked by traitors. What? But, the children killed them. Well done. What good shinobi will be in the future. Have you heard about the attack? There will be good shinobi. In the Nara clan, they train well once the children have dealt with the traitors. Yes, apparently 2 more geniuses appeared in the village, besides Uchiha Itachi. Poor children. Are you talking about the attacks on the heirs of the clan? Yes. They are children, and here is such a shock, and this is a small part of what he heard while walking home. When he arrived, he went to the kitchen, but his wife was not there. He found her in their bedroom on a bed with sleeping children. After quickly changing clothes, he lay down on the other side of the children, hugging them the same way as Yashina. The explanation will be tomorrow, and now you can finally breathe freely and fall asleep. Enpo Shikaku. He still had no idea how the characters of the children would change. He just believed that soon everything would be as before. But fate had other plans. Waking up in the morning, Yashina saw first the children, and then her husband. Quickly getting up and straightening the blankets, I went to do the usual morning chores. Shikaku came to the smell of almost ready breakfast and hot coffee. So either you are now explaining what happened to the children or you will not get the desired coffee. There's nothing to explain. For shinobi found out everything, attacked them and told the truth. They killed them themselves deliberately. So what those 4 said was true. Turning around, the parents saw the children. Naruko had tears in her eyes and she was trembling all over, clinging to Shikamaru. Shikamaru, on the other hand, was infuriated. He looked at his parents almost with hatred, clutching to his chest the one whom he considered his younger twin sister yesterday, and there was undisguised rage in his voice. Have you been deceiving us, Shikamaru? Let us explain everything to you. Yashina tried to calm the children. However, she was interrupted by a question. Are you not my parents? Am I a demon? Naruko's voice was trembling, and endless tears were already flowing down her cheeks. No. Both parents shouted at the same time. Naruko, you're Naruko, not a demon. You are our daughter, though not our own. And if you look at the blood, then you are my niece and Shikamaru's second cousin. And we love you like our own daughter. Stop it, why should we believe you? You have deceived us before, and you can deceive us now about love and kinship. Why should we believe you? With each word, there was more rage and pain. Then he quit. We're going to our room, and left hugging Naruko. Husband and wife exchanged glances. They did not like what was happening. Shikaku stood up, hugged his wife and began stroking her head, whispering that everything will come to its senses and the children need a little time. Going into the room supporting Naruko, Shikamaru tried to calm down. There he broke down. Now we need to restrain emotions to calm Naruko. Sitting her on the bed himself, sitting next to her. Naruko, look at me. Calm down, don't cry, he said. wiping the tears from her face and stroking her head. No one, look into my eyes, no one is worthy of your tears. You understand, Naruko, I will protect you. And about the parents, just forget it. You have me. Okay? He looked into her eyes as he spoke, and she nodded slowly and hesitantly. Parents? Timid questioned, forget about them at least now. We need to get over this, but for now it's better not to talk to them. Understand they don't know what to do right now. And Naruko, I want you to remember that you can trust me. I will never betray you. I swear on blood, he said and sharply cut his palm with a kunai. Naruko screamed. Shikamaru, I believe you, but don't cut yourself. Okay? What is it? She asked, smiling nervously. Shikamaru instantly regretted that he had done it. Judging by Naruko's voice, hysteria could now begin. He held her close and rocked her like a little baby until she fell asleep. Seeing that Naruko had fallen asleep, Shikamaru undressed her and put her under the blanket. Thinking that now she might have a nightmare, he also undressed and lay down with her. Pop Shikamaru, damn, I still can't believe my parents lied to me, although is it possible to call them that? And Naruko, she was so upset. These four are dead and we killed them, we were attacked by the shinobi of our own village. And this fox who lives in Naruko. If you think about it, the information was secret, that is, no one should have known about it. They somehow found out and decided to kill Naruko. It turns out that this situation may happen again. At the very thought, Shikamaru's palms clenched into fists and he stretched her closer to him. Sighing and exhaling, and at the same time counting to 10, he unclenched his fists and more or less calmed down. An interesting idea came to mind, to get out of the village. So I got carried away, first I need to find out everything, understand and analyze. But then you can think about this idea. And now the main task is to protect Naruko. Falling asleep, he felt that when he thinks about Naruko, an incomprehensible feeling appears. He had not yet realized that he had stopped perceiving her as a sister, now he began to perceive her as a girl. Enpo Shikamaru, the visiting parents, who finally had the courage to talk to the children, saw them and at the same time smiled sadly. Yoshino came up and kissed both of them on the forehead, straightened the blanket and left the room with Shikaku, quietly closing the door behind her. And the awakened Nine-Tailed was now looking through the memory of his vessel. Life itself is like life. But, to be honest, he was somewhat puzzled, only Uzumaki could restrain him. He knew that for sure, but here the Nara clan, all this caused confusion. Members of the Uzumaki clan had a large amount of chakra from birth, even a newly born baby had chakras like an average jounin. Plus their chakra and partly their blood was poisonous to anyone who was not a member of the clan, including Uchiha and Senju. And thanks to their seal techniques, what they were best at made them the only possible representatives for the vessel itself. Plus add to this Rinnegan, which could only be Uzumaki. He was always surprised by the people of his hero, they called Rikudo Sanin, while forgetting that his last name was Uzumaki, and they also managed to forget about his daughter. If the eldest son, who believed that power is the way to peace, received part of the power of Sanin's eyes, and the youngest son, who believed that love is the way to peace, received the body and physical strength of Rikudo Sanin. Then his daughter received spiritual power, faith and a strong chakra, and thanks to this they were able to awaken Rinnegan. And they got different surnames, the eldest son is Uchiha, the youngest son is Senju, and the daughter received his true surname Uzumaki. But along with the power from the father, the daughter also got a part of the venom of the Jubi chakra, well, red hair to boot. How people were able to throw this fact out of history, he could not understand. Realizing that he was starting to dive into his past now, he shook his head and decided to finish watching the memory of this Nara's hand. And here's the moment why I started to wake up, flashback. Well, how do you like the fairy tale? And the kids? Another one asked, and he abruptly moved forward, pulling out his hand with kunai from behind his back. Naruko and Shikamaru reacted quickly, as their father had taught them. A shadow immediately went from Naruko, which stopped the attacker and pierced his stomach, and Shikamaru instantly threw one of the kunai that pierced the neck to the hilt itself. Everything happened on reflexes. They didn't even realize right away that they had killed a man. But the other three realized it instantly, attacking them. The children who had not yet recovered from their first murder, on whom fear began to roll, noticed too late, because of which they received several cuts. Coming out of shock thanks to the pain, Naruko immediately released the shadow, trying to hold all three, but nothing comes out and they begin to get out of the technique. The children were able to kill one more and injure another, and jump away. Those furious with the death of friends furiously attacked them, which allowed Naruko to slip between the legs of one and jump up to put a kunai in the neck. And Shikamaru let the enemy get closer, make him a cut and plunge the kunai into the heart. They stood for a few minutes without saying anything, and then realizing what they had done, tears flowed down their cheeks. Naruko's second kunai fell out of her hands and she walked up to Shikamaru on wobbly legs and fell to her knees before reaching a couple of steps. Shikamaru took these 2 steps and sat down next to his sister and hugged her to him. He could not speak, he was choked with tears as well as Naruko. They sat there for a few minutes until their father appeared. He, as it seemed to Shikamaru, took them in his arms after an eternity and moved them somewhere. Neither Naruko nor Shikamaru remembered what was done to them there. Then he gave them to his mother, who, after looking at them, immediately took them to the bathroom and washed them, at the same time treating their wounds. Then she dragged them into the bedroom, where they fell asleep. Waking up in the morning and not seeing their parents, they got dressed and went to the voices. And they heard what was not meant for them. Then they went to their room and fell asleep. End flashback. That's how it is. I was forced to awaken by a very strong Naruko experience. And this Shikamaru, his look has changed. It might be interesting. But the pedigree, so she is the daughter of Minato and Kushina. Judging by her memories, her character is a mixture of her parents and her grandmother. But, the fact that she uses the shadow so much did not expect, but I have nothing to do with it, and this is just the most interesting thing. Although it was fun to watch the use of this technique for the first time, I don't think the elder has ever played like this, the fox said under his breath, assimilating new information for himself. It will be interesting to watch her life. Perhaps I will enjoy the circus with her in the main role. Maybe I'll even help. Well, if it gets really boring. It first, I congratulate everyone on the new year and wish you everything you can. This part of beta has not been tested yet. But I hope that this part will be checked out soon, and also that you will like this part. Happy New Year to all. Chapter 6. A scream broke the silence in the house. The parents sitting in the living room instantly jumped up and ran to the children's room, from where the scream was heard. Yashina had a kunai in her hands, and Shikaku's shadow was lengthening and decreasing. Bursting into the children's room, they expected to see Shinobi, who found out about Kubi, Anbu root, and even Danzo himself, but not what they saw. Naruko was tossing and turning on the bed, all wet with sweat, and blood mixed with tears was flowing from her eyes. Shikamaru was not in the room. He appeared a few seconds later with a wet rag. Wait. Let me do it myself, Yashina said, looking into her son's eyes. For a few seconds they looked into each other's eyes. There was disbelief in his eyes, confidence and remorse in her eyes. Naruko's loud groan decided everything. Shikamaru gave the cloth to his mother, who immediately ran up to her daughter and began to wash her face. Shikaku, get a doctor quickly. Shikamaru, bring a first aid kit, and a basin of water. When Naruko fell asleep from the painkillers and sleeping pills that were injected into her. The whole family, except Naruko, and the doctor were sitting in the kitchen. What's wrong with her? I did everything I could. Keep the ointment and tincture. Change the ointment 3 times a day, and take the tincture in the morning and evening. Your daughter has gone blind. Most likely, this is a protective reaction of the body. Initially there was shock, because they killed for the first time and that the shinobi of their native village attacked, then there was hysteria, am I right? Seeing Shikamaru's nod, he continued. All this has severely depleted the body, blindness is just a defensive reaction. Although she is a future shinobi, but still a child, it is quite possible that she thinks that you will turn away from her and hate her because she has become a murderer. In order not to see it and not to get such stress, she stopped seeing to get less stress. Isn't vision loss stressful? Yashina shouted. It will do less harm to her body, understand, the doctor said wearily. When will the vision be restored? Shikaku asked. I can't say for sure, everything depends only on her, he said and left, leaving the family sitting in the kitchen in tense silence. 2 years have passed. Naruko was still blind, but to the surprise of others, she moved calmly. After some tests, it became clear that the girl just had the gift of a sensor. Although she lost her sight, like every blind person, her intuition, sense of smell, hearing improved. She sensed danger, the shadows of neither Shikamaru nor her father could reach her. Her sensory abilities, which appeared, also helped her navigate. Moreover, sensory abilities were the strongest in the village, thanks to which she was given missions, and since Shikamaru did not want to let her go alone, he also went. Pov Naruko, after I went blind, I thought I would no longer be able to see anything but darkness, but it turned out not to be so. Yes, I could no longer see this world with my eyes. But I saw another world. I knew that everyone has a chakra, but I didn't think before that everything has a chakra. I saw a world consisting of darkness and a colored chakra. Complete darkness with a bright colored chakra that are objects that retain their shape and people who are with something like the flame of the chakra. To put it simply, the colored chakra occupies the outside world. Thanks to this, she can move around safely. Alas, she saw only outlines or shapes, not the faces of the family, not the beauty of nature, not letters. Therefore, someone else read the books to her, as well as the material of the Shinobi Academy, and everyone's chakra was different and had to be remembered. All this developed her memory very well. Tomorrow they go to the Shinobi Academy together with Shikamaru. She felt that she was afraid to go there. They could not go there at all, they could just pass the exam, but no, their parents set conditions. And she does not want it so much, because Shikamaru can move away from her, and she is afraid of this more than losing her life. She still called Shikaku and Yashina her parents, loved them, but no longer fully trusted and did not believe. The only one she trusted was Shikamaru. Now she was plunging into complete darkness. She had to sleep, because tomorrow they go to the academy. Endpov Naruko shrugged her shoulders. Standing now in the courtyard of the academy and listening to the Hokage's speech, she was uncomfortable. For 2 years, she has not gotten used to having a lot of people around. Shikamaru squeezed her hand, supporting her and as if saying that he was near. Pov Shikamaru. 2 years have passed since that event. Naruko's eyesight never returned. Now we are standing and listening to the Hokage's speech. During these 2 years, I realized a lot. I don't love Naruko anymore as a sister, but I just love how dear a person is to me, probably. Her sensor abilities amazed everyone, thanks to them we even went on assignments with her. More precisely, they took her. As Hokage Naruko explained, she became the best sensor of our village, and I just didn't want to leave her. Because of this, they began to train us even harder, and she and I also learned the entire program of the academy. Our level is now equal to the average Chunin. But since we are children, our parents forced us to study here for at least a month. Maybe we'll like it and decide to stay there for the whole 7 years. So we go and sit by the window. Many look at us with interest. Everyone knew about the attack 2 years ago. The teacher who came into the classroom looked at everyone. Hello children, my name is Yumano Irika, you can call Irika sensei. I love green tea, socializing with friends, children and especially diligent students. I don't like bullying, bad behavior and bad studies. Now I will call you and you will have to go to the blackboard and introduce yourself as I did now. The first Ameumiya. Here I stopped listening, watching the clouds in the window. I woke up only when Naruko patted me on the head and pointed to the board with a nod of her head. Ino was standing there. Hello, my name is Yamanako Ino. I love my friends, family and making ikebana. I don't like it when my friends are offended or in a dispute with me. They start talking about my family without knowing anything. The dream is to become a strong kunoichi and a good head of his clan in the future. Thank you, Ino. The next one is Nara Shikamaru. I sighed bitterly and got up and trudged to the blackboard. Hello everyone, you've already heard my name. I love my cousin, family, friends, being lazy, looking at clouds, sleeping and reading. I don't like being offended or prevented from doing what I love. A dream, I dream that Naruko will see the beauty of our world again. Good, Irika said, somewhat discouraged. The next Uzumaki is Nara Naruko. Hello, my name is Uzumaki Nara Naruko. I love my friends, family and animals. I don't like cruelty and when people dear to me are touched. I dream of seeing this world again, and return to her place next to me, Enpo Shikamaru. So, now you can ask the questions you are interested in. You raise your hands, and I choose one of you. So Kiba, you're the first. This question is for the Nara clan. Is it true that 2 years ago you killed the shinobi who attacked you? And Naruko went blind? Yes. So, Sasuke. If she's blind, what is she doing here? There is no place for cripples among shinobi. And I am not a crippled Uchiha. I know perfectly well that you are now in the second row at the desk by the window. I am a sensor and I feel the chakra, and everything has a chakra, including you, me, objects or 3 steps in front of the door, which is 3 from ours or those 2 birds sitting on a branch. I may not see the color and exact shape, but I only see the chakra clusters, but I know what it is and where it is. I am kunoichi. I have been training since I was 3.5 years old and Shikamaru and I were taken on missions. We have already killed. Did you go on assignments? Irika asked. Yes, Naruko just has the gift of a sensor. According to Hokage, she is the best sensor in the village, and she can notice things that others will not notice or will not pay attention to. And I didn't want to let her go alone, and I also participated in them. So there are already a bunch of B and C rank missions in our affairs, and there are 20 A, 5S and there is even 1 S+. And why are you here? Niji asked already. To communicate with peers, they answered at the same time so synchronously that some became afraid. That is? Some girl with green hair asked. You will not study here, but just sit there for 7 years. No, we will study here for a month, as parents wish, and pass the genin exam. You can't, you're just a Nara, a weak clan, Uchiha exclaimed. Sasuke, your brother became a genin at the age of 6, Irika tried to calm him down. Itachi is a genius, they are also geniuses of Sasuke. In the world, according to statistics, 1 in 50,000 is a genius. Your brother is not the only genius in the world, Irika said. Uchiha jumped up and started gasping for air, wanting to object and say that everyone in the world is suckers and losers except his clan, and especially his older brother and himself, Uchiha Sasuke. But I couldn't, realizing that I had already made an idiot of myself. To become geniuses, you need to know the theory of all 7 classes, and basic techniques. Are you sure you'll pass? Yes. All right, kids, calm down. After that, we were not touched. Yes, they squinted with even greater interest, and someone will not show their fingers looked with hatred and contempt. Here the fool understands Uchiha, ladies and gentlemen Uchiha. Iruka told us what we would study and how it would be in general. Having said one last thing. That tomorrow at 8:30 to be in class, he let everyone go home. That's how the first day at the Shinobi Academy went. Our parents were already waiting for us at home. Well, like the first day at the academy. Fine. Uchiha Sasuke hates us and wants to kill us, Naruko said. And what did you do? Iruka-sensei called us geniuses, but Uchiha didn't like it. He believes that there are only 3 geniuses in the world, himself, his father and especially his brother Uchiha Itachi. And he also thinks our clan is weak and that Naruko is just a cripple. But we argued with him, made him look like a complete idiot, and everyone knows that we will only study with them for a month. It hasn't been decided yet, Yashina cried. It's decided, we know the whole program, it's boring there. And for communication with peers, we have a friend Ino and a friend Choji, Naruko said, and ignoring her mother, she went to her room, dragging Shikamaru with her. POV mask. Yes, whatever they think they are probably lying. You definitely need to ask Itachi and I and your father. I will find out the truth and take revenge for making me look like an idiot in front of the teacher and the whole class. Although Naruko is beautiful and damn. What kind of nonsense comes to mind? She's just a dobe and that's it. That's it. And here's the house, no brother, no father. We'll have to wait with the questions. Npovsas deciding not to sit around, he quickly did his homework and went to train a fireball to the lake. He returned to dinner, which was attended by the whole family. Well, Sasuke, how was the first day at the academy? Mikoto asked. It's fine, almost. Did you know that in the Nara clan, children lie. What makes you think that? I have 2 Nara in my class, Shikamaru and Naruko. And, he could not continue, Itachi interrupted him. Well, first of all, Naruko has the surname Uzumaki Nara, and secondly, why are these 2 liars Ototo? Yes, this surname is not important. The 2 said they had already gone on missions, and that Naruko was the best censor in the village. It's true. What did you say, father? It's true. Naruko and Shikamaru have already completed missions. And Naruko's is just a gift of a censor from Kami-sama. Itachi, if I'm not mistaken, you were on a mission with them, right? Yes, I have carried out several missions with them. Ni-sama, what can you say about them? Well, if as a shinobi, then Shikamaru is a good strategist and analyst, his level is equal to the average chunin, but he will soon reach the Hunin, owns elemental techniques, his element is the earth, of course owns the technique of his clan and basic techniques, taijutsu at the average level. Naruko, as well as Shikamaru, is a genius, is good at analytics, the element of water and wind, knows basic, elemental and clan techniques, the level of his brother, chakras like Hunin, and as the father of the censor from Kami-sama has already said. If it's hard to say about people, personally I like to do tasks with them and that's it. Piovino, well, hello, beauty, how was your first day at the academy? Father asked. Informative. There was a handsome boy there, I might even have fallen in love, but he turned out to be a complete jerk. And which boy did you give such a flattering review and why? Mom asked. The boy's name is Uchiha Sasuke. And she rewarded him for the fact that he considers himself the navel of the earth and almost declared that Uchiha are geniuses, and everyone else just exists for entertainment and raising their self-esteem. Really? Did he say that? Almost. At first he called Naruko a cripple, and then when he found out that he and Shikamaru were going to take the genin exam in a month, he said that Nara is a weak clan and they will not be able to do it. Then Iruka-sensei reminded him that his older brother became a genin at the age of 6, he declared that Itachi was a genius. Sensei said they were geniuses too. Sasuke then jumped up and started gasping for air, wanting to object, but realized that by his behavior he had already made an idiot of himself and sat down without saying anything. So these two have almost succeeded in not going to the academy, my father said thoughtfully. Have you been assigned homework? And if not, what are you going to do now? I'll do it quickly now and go for a walk. Can I, Dad, Mom? You can go, Mom chuckled. Nodding, I ran to my room. And Povino. Going up to her room, she lay down on the bed and closed her eyes. A face began to appear in front of her. After a while she was able to recognize him. It was Niji Hyuga, Hinata's cousin and the genius of the clan. And if you think about it, Niji is also handsome, maybe a good person. You'll have to look closely, muttered Ino. Inoichi, where are you going? I want to talk to Shikaku about his children. Hokage, Sama, are you sure? Yes, Irika. This is their decision. If they do not want to sit in the academy knowing all the material, then they will not sit, and their mental state? I understand that they have already carried out tasks and killed, but they are children, and we do not have martial law. They need childhood, communication with peers and friends. Irika, they visit a psychologist every 2 months, according to his testimony, their psyche is stable, this is one time. 2. They communicate with peers and they have friends, Yamanako Ino and Choji Akimichi. And about childhood, you may be right, but I do not intend to forbid them to become shinobi. Hokage said and took the report from the table, showing that he was busy. Irika bowed and left. Since you have been studying for a week, today is your first sparring. You will fight in a circle, go out for him at least a millimeter means losing. We fight only hand to hand, no techniques, Irika said, looking at the children. The last words referred to 2 Nara, Uchiha and 2 Hyugas who already knew the techniques and were the best students. In principle, Haruno Sakura could also be attributed to them, but she was strong only in theory and no more. So the first pair of Uchiha Sasuke and Nara Shikamaru, Uchiha, hearing this, grinned. If on the first day he hated them because he was made an idiot, then after that dinner he wanted to kill them and prove to his brother and father that he was better and stronger than these upstarts. Coming out of the crowd, he went inside the circle and stood near the line. His opponent did the same. When I lower my hand and shout started, you will start the battle, whoever starts earlier is considered the loser. 1, 2, 3 started, Irika shouted, lowering his hand. Sasuke quickly ran towards Shikamaru, stopping just before the collision. Lifting one leg, he began to turn around sharply, although to kick with a U-turn into the chest of Shikamaru. Shikamaru also chuckled. He took a step back, crouched down and sharply hit Sasuke's legs, making him start to fall. After waiting for the Uchiha to fly over him, he got up himself. As soon as Sasuke got up, Nara, spinning on one leg, hit him in the chest, so much so that he was thrown out of the circle and he crashed into a tree. The winner is Shikamaru. Nara. Shikamaru yawned at this, went to his sister, he didn't care about this victory. Uchiha sat down and looked forward with an unseeing gaze, not believing that he had lost, disgraced the clan, so quickly in just a few minutes, hell, not even minutes, but seconds, he reproached himself. Sasuke-kun, are you okay? Don't worry, I'm sure this victory was just an accident. You're stronger than that idiot. Sasuke-kun, why are you silent? Are you in pain? Some pink-haired girl was running around and bothering him. Looking at her, he recognized one of his few remaining fans, and soon he remembered her name, Haruno Sakura. The rest of his fans, who worshipped him and hesitated, like Sakura, to speak and ask how he was feeling, so they left it to a more courageous friend. Shut up. I'm all right, he growled, standing up abruptly and glaring at his victor with a hateful look. Who was now receiving congratulations from his sister and friends. Uzumaki's next fight is Nara Naruko and Haruno Sakura, Irika announced. This fight lasted even less, ending with Naruko's victory. And there was nothing to describe at all. Weaklings, Sasuke said contemptuously. Iruka-sensei, can I fight Hyuga Neji? Naruko asked, why are Uzumaki with me? You are the genius of your clan, a strong opponent, no weaker than Uchiha, and a battle with you will show that I am not a weakling, she explained. Iruka-sensei, please allow me, Neji asked. He hesitated a little, but nodded. Neji entered the circle and stood in a stance. Less than a second later, Iruka lowered his hand and shouted, let's start. Neji ran at Naruko, she let go and even allowed herself to be attacked. POV Naruko I closed my eyes for a few seconds, plunging into complete darkness, then a fiery circle appeared around me in front of my eyes, denoting the strip that Iruka-san drew, small flames, stones, irregularities, and a pillar of flame, Neji. There is darkness outside the circle, there is no world there, the world exists only in this circle. It's just me and Neji in this world. A little more and the shapeless flame began to take the form of a man. Neji ran and tried to hit with his palm. I take a step forward, pull his hand away, trip him up, and grab the other hand with which he tried to hit her. As a result, it turns out that Neji is on one knee, wipes himself into the ground with one hand, and she holds the other behind her back. To prevent him from escaping, she quickly took out a kunai and presented it to her throat. End POV Naruko everything happened quickly. Iruka looked at them for a minute after that and realizing that any movement due to the grip of the hand is painful, and the kunai at the throat must also be taken into account, decided to finish. The winner of Uzumaki is Nara Naruko. Well done, Naruko. Ino exclaimed. Standing next to Cheiji, he just smiled and clapped his hands a couple of times. And Shikamaru waited until she came up and Ino let her out of his arms. He hugged me too and kissed me on the cheek. While looking possessively at Sasuke. He had already noticed how he was looking at his sister. In his eyes, hatred sometimes turned into desire. At least it seemed to Shikamaru that Sasuke was looking that way. He thought Naruko was very beautiful, and even despite everything, she was not very problematic. He liked to read books aloud to her or describe everything he sees in flowers. How the parents have changed, whether Cheiji has lost weight or got fatter, whether Ino has become even more beautiful. And how he himself has changed, has he become taller, decided to take an example from Cheiji and get better in weight and everything about him. And most of all he liked to tell her about herself. He knew that he had fallen in love with her. He was well aware that he would not be able to see anyone next to her. He wanted to make her his, so that she belonged to him body and soul. And for this you need to become her husband, ring her. Shikamaru chuckled remembering how he got his parents' approval to marry Naruko, if of course she would not mind. Flashback. Pov Shikamaru Kami-sama, I fell in love. I fell in love with my sister Naruko, and it's like a cousin, it's still a sister. Thoughts are confused in my head, I'm confused, such an attitude will not be accepted, damn it, they will not accept. In irritation, he hit the wall, there was a dent. Amazingly more notations from parents are expected. Great day. That's why I don't like self-examination, you learn something about yourself, and then you suffer. Shikamaru, why are you destroying the house, father? I'm an idiot, self-critical, the man chuckled, and looking at me asked, why such criticism of a loved one? I couldn't say more. I am the last letter of the alphabet, not the answer. Have you fallen in love? Mockingly. Yes, it would be better not to fall in love. Shikaku's face changed from mocking to serious, and only 2 words were uttered from his lips. In Naruko? I looked at him in shock. How did he know? I didn't show it by words or gesture. He couldn't find out. Although if you think about it with representatives of the fair sex, who are my peers, I only communicate with Naruko and Ino. But then it's strange that he didn't assume that it could be Ino. why did you decide that it was Naruko? Maybe I don't like it. A glance, is the short answer. I see. You don't look unhappy. You know, son, if blood is dissolved very often with other blood, then it gradually loses its peculiarity and strength. The only exceptions were the uzumaki. Do you mean to say that in order to preserve the genome and not make it weaker, incest occurs, and marriages between close relatives are allowed? Yes. To put it bluntly, no one will say a word to you if you marry Naruko. Is this a kind of blessing? Yes, but only if she loves you too, said the mother who appeared. And smiling, she went to the kitchen to cook. My advice to you, son, girls should be tamed gradually. Stay close, but unobtrusively, do not impose your opinion on her, she will get used to you, and when you are not around, she will not feel comfortable. Remember that. Yeah, I'll remember. Thank you and bye. Having said that, I left before my father remembered that I had to fix the wall, and flashback for Shikamaru. He won't tolerate anyone near Naruko. And for some reason Sasuke was perceived as a rival, as someone who could take her away. Therefore, he looks at Uchiha with hatred and possessively presses Naruko to his chest. Uchiha Jr. did not like him as much as the older one. And it was strange that he does not perceive the same Neji as a rival. Except that you need to make sure that he doesn't do anything wrong. Otherwise, she clearly chose him as a target. But one thing he knew for sure, Naruko was his, and soon he would confess his love to her, hoping to get a mutual response. And if she answered no, he did not know exactly what he would do, but for some reason there was a certainty that he would not be able to see her with someone else, rather he would imprison her somewhere and erase her memory, but he would become the only one with whom she could trust. Shikamaru, Naruko, I congratulate you on receiving the title of Genin, said Hokage. Standing next to Irika smiled and nodded. Thank you Hokage-sama, they said at the same time. You did everything your own way anyway. Yoshino was indignant, walking back and forth in the kitchen, then suddenly smiled, stopped and stroked the children on the head. But still well done, I'm proud of you. I brought up geniuses, and weaned one of the Nara clan from laziness. I can be proud of myself. Dear, it seems to me that Naruko weaned Shikamaru from laziness, not you, Shikaku cautiously remarked. Well, hush, dear, hissed at him Darling pulling out a rolling pin from nowhere. Deer looked at his wife, rolling pin and fell silent justifying the title of henpecked. Today we arranged a festive family dinner in honor of the successful exam. Several years have passed. Naruko, congratulations to you, Ino screamed at the whole restaurant. You're getting married, it's already enviable. Listen, how did Shikamaru propose? Surely you've thought everything through without a single mistake, right? Ino was babbling. No, you're wrong about one thing. Yes, he prepared everything, but he clearly did not write or teach the speech, he constantly lost his way. But it was romantic, a hotel room, dinner for two. You're lucky. And how Yoshino-san and Shikaku-san reacted. Well. Flashback. Oh Shikamaru, Naruko has already returned from the task, you are just in time for dinner to quickly wash and change clothes from the road. Yes, having done everything, they began to have dinner by the end of dinner. Shikamaru said, Mom, Dad, we have important news for you. Well, what are they? Is Naruko pregnant? Shikaku asked cheerfully, No. It sounded at the same time from his children, and he also got hit on the head from his wife. Ahem, Mom, Dad, I'm getting married. What? This is already the parents shouted at the same time. How? When? On whom? Why am I only finding out about this now? Yoshino wailed. How? And that's it. When? I think in a couple of weeks. On whom? On Naruko. I found out now because I made offers only yesterday. Children, I congratulate you. We should drink to that. Yoshino, where's sake? I'll congratulate my daughter. It's so beautiful. And if you offend Shikamaru, I will send Naruko to the intensive care unit. And you Shikaku don't dare get drunk. If they want to get married so early, then we don't have much time. You need to do everything in time, and you won't have time to get drunk. What? END flashback. Hahaha, Shikaka-san, as always in his repertoire. I even feel a little sorry for him. And Yoshino-san too. The next 2 weeks were spent in festive chores. Yoshino, Naruko, Ino ran around the store and ordered everything, and Choji, Shikamaru and Shikaku did everything. 3.5 weeks have passed. Shikamaru was nervous and walked around the room. He was dressed in hakama wedding attire. Hakama, formal attire, loose-fitting, with family coats of arms. In which the groom must be dressed at the wedding, dark blue, loose-fitting. On the back was the coat of arms of the Nara clan, paying no attention to anyone. And his walking made those people nervous, very nervous. Stop Shikamaru, you're annoying. Father, weren't you worried when you married Mom? Shikamaru asked. Realizing that talking to my father may help calm down. Well, how can I tell you, he drawled. I was worried before the wedding, and then I drank and almost didn't worry anymore. In a drunken state, you can't worry. True, Yoshina almost killed me later, but I didn't worry about anything that day and was the happiest person in the world. Yeah, and then he was in the hospital for 2 weeks. Inoichi, Ino's father, chuckled. Yoshino beat him up so badly after the wedding night. Son, let's drink to your wedding. Dad, maybe I should call my mom. Shikamaru looked at how his father began to turn pale and continued. And that you will remember your wedding. Now she will not beat you, so as not to upset Naruko. But tomorrow he will do it with pleasure. You will stay in the hospital for a week. Shikamaru, stop being sarcastic. No, is that okay? I want to help him, but he threatens to. Dad, help is support, not soldering. Does Naruko love me? If I didn't love you, I wouldn't say yes. Calm down, you love her, she loves you. You'll be fine. By the way, it's time for you to walk down the aisle already. Definitely, let's go. On the way, I remember the moment when I offered Naruko my hand and my heart. Flashback, Shikamaru looked around the room, which he asked to serve dinner in a romantic style. And I was satisfied. I checked whether I had forgotten to put the ring in my pocket. And froze. Hearing Shikamaru's footsteps, he put the ring, which he did not notice how he took out, in his pocket. And he moved away from the door so that Naruko could pass. Shikamaru? Did I get the wrong number? No. I ordered this dinner. Celebrating a successful mission. The girl asked. And where are Asuma-sensei and Enko-san? Did you forget to invite them, or were you too lazy to invite them? Almost. And these two are superfluous here. And why is that? Dinner first, and then explanations, he said in a stern voice and sat down. With a grunt, Naruko sat down, and they began to have dinner. And, after eating, they began to drink tea, when suddenly Shikamaru got up, approached Naruko and knelt down, took out a ring, and took her hand. Naruko, I've known you for a long time, well, that is, since birth. And I've wanted to say for a long time that I don't love you. No, I wanted to say I don't love you as a sister, but I love you as a beloved girl, and I want to demand, ask. And to hell with everything. Naruko, will you become my wife? Naruko, whose face changed both in emotion and color during the speech, froze red with embarrassment. And she was silent. Shikamaru was getting more and more nervous. It seemed to him that he was talking some nonsense and now he would be sent far away and forever because of this nonsense. At the same time, a plan about sleeping pills, fake death and a wonderful house with barriers that will not let you escape, not far from Konoha, climbed into my head. A sound distracted him from his thoughts. Timidly, I agree. I love you too, Shikamaru. Beaming, Shikamaru put on the ring and kissed Naruko. It was the best, most beautiful and the first kiss in their lives. END flashback, standing at the altar, I waited for Naruko. Music started playing. In the passage that appeared, Naruko drew all eyes to herself. Almost no attention was paid to the Shikaku who led her. Wedding blue. Blue kimonos. In Japan, the color of purity is not white, but blue. The white kimono of the bride does not bear any clan differences and means that the woman is ready to move from one family to another, and it is a symbol of a new beginning, because by wearing a white kimono, the bride demonstrates that she does not bring anything of her own to the groom's house. Since Naruko is already a member of the family, I decided to put her in a blue kimono, not a white one, since she does not transfer to any other family and will not bring anything new. Silk kimono, which was decorated, as the kimono itself was made by hand, with gold and silver threads. A uchikake cape was worn over it. Uchikake is a wedding silk kimono. Uchikake capes are worn over a wedding kimono. They are very long and have a specially weighted hem to beautifully slide the train behind the bride. Her hem stretched behind her on the carpet like a train. She had a picture of white-winged cranes flying over golden clouds, over lilac mountains covered with blooming peonies, sakura and green pines. The theme of the drawing is a Japanese symbol of eternal love, white-winged cranes flying over golden clouds, over lilac mountains covered with blooming peonies, sakura and green pines. The whole drawing as a whole is a benevolent symbol of love, prosperity and longevity, and also on the back were the coats of arms of the Uzumaki and Nara clan. A veil covered her face. Bringing Naruko to Shikamaru and putting him in front of the priest, Shikaku went to his wife. And the ceremony began. First, a priest and a few Miko, Yap. Wives, Neskel, attendants of Shinto temples in Japan. In modern Shintoism, Miko help in conducting temple rites and performing marriage ceremonies, perform ritual dances, do amikuji divination, and simply maintain cleanliness and order in temples. Only unmarried girls can serve as Miko. Sometimes students earn extra money as Miko, especially during Matsuri, temple festivals, which sometimes stretch for several weeks. In ancient times, the Miko put themselves into a trance with an ecstatic ritual Kagura dance, the prototype of which can be found in the myth of how the sun goddess Amaterasu no Omikami was lured into hiding in a cave, which was supposed to attract the attention of the kami, deity, who descended into the shaman's body. In this state, the Miko made predictions on behalf of the gods, treated diseases, and gave advice to politicians. They perform a purification ritual, Ohara, reciting ancient prayers. Nara Shikamaru, do you agree to marry Uzumaki Nara Naruko and be with her for better or worse, in sickness and in health, forever? The priest asked, yes. Shikamaru said loudly. Do you agree Uzumaki Nara Naruko to become the wife of Nara Shikamaru and be with him for better or worse, in sickness and in health, forever? There was silence. Shikamaru felt that panic was beginning to creep up on him, not hearing his beloved's answer, and at the same time he tried to understand why she was silent, but because of the stupid veil, he didn't even see his face. The veil had too many layers. And she seemed to be deliberately holding a pause to make everyone present nervous. Still in silence, she lifted and threw back her veil, showing her face. There was a pink gloss on her lips, and blue shadows on her closed eyes. Her lips stretched into a smile, she opened her eyes and said, yes, then the two of them drank 3 sips from 3 cups of sake. And exchanged rings. By the power given to me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You can kiss, and they kissed for a long time with all the love that they had, with all the desire to become one whole with each other. Congratulations were flying from all sides, but they did not hear them. The world ceased to exist for them. There were just the two of them here, now, and that was it. Now they were sitting in their new room, in the new two-story estate of the clan head. They now live in the Uzumaki clan quarter. Their room was large, the walls were the color of azure, a light brown carpet, a large double bed covered with a white bedspread. A tree is painted in white on the wall above the bed. There is a glass table, around it 4 chairs in the color of azure. There is a chest of drawers near the window, and a mirror above it. There are white bedside tables near the bed on both sides. And the windows are covered with orange curtains. Shikamaru, I can't even believe we are husband and wife. I agree. I still think it's a dream. That you're officially mine now. I love you, Naruko. You know, to be honest, I had a plan in case you told me no. Yes. And which one? She asked with interest. She and Shikamaru are sitting on Naruko's bed in a red kimono that she changed into in the middle of the wedding following the traditions, and he is still in the same kimono as he was from the beginning of the wedding. To put you to sleep, to take you to the forest outside Konoha, to hide in a house with a garden and part of the forest, to put up barriers beforehand so that this house and you could not be found. Only I could enter there, and you would not be able to leave. And erase your memory to become the center of your world, your universe, so that you trust only me. I see. You know, in a good way, I should get angry now and throw a tantrum. Because you wanted to destroy my usual life and give me a new one, without my knowledge and consent. But perhaps I won't do it. I love you and I'll forgive it, thanks. I'm glad that my beloved wife is so understanding. He put his arm around her shoulders. I love you. And he showed his love for a long time, all night, and only when the sun began to rise outside the window did they fall asleep. Puffcuby removing his paws from his ears, he listened, nothing, silence. Finally, blissful silence. No, while he was in Uzumaki Mito, and Uzumaki Kushin, he certainly felt when his Jinchuriki were engaged in lemon or whatever they were yelling, love? Yes, like love. But for almost 19 damn years, he had already forgotten these damn feelings, and to be honest, he would prefer not to remember. But this yellow devil, a crooked-armed biped, Namikaze Minato, put such a stupid seal that it was time to howl at the moon, and figs that he was a fox, not a wolf. This seal not only pulled the chakra out of him, transforming it into the chakra of the current Jinchurika, but he also felt everything the same as she did. And all because he mixed up some pathetic 5 seals. No, he had a spacious cage where he could even change the terrain from bare walls to a forest, but damn it, he would rather have chains or nails that hold him than this. We need to do something, but what? Although it is possible to damage the seal by letting a bunch of chakras into it, Jinchuriki will not die, Uzumaki, the seal will not weaken, but on the contrary will become stronger and will fence off the sensations of the vessel. Well, at the same time he will make a gift, he will return her eyesight for the wedding. And even so, there is less chance that Naruko will get pregnant and a new roommate will appear here, Enkubai a huge amount of chakra separated from the kubi, which began to be instantly absorbed into the seal. Waking up, Naruko, without opening her eyes, stretched out on the bed. It was a magical night. Shikamaru turned out to be passionate and gentle. Feeling the hand that was hugging her on her body, a smile appeared on her face by itself. For some reason, she wanted to open her eyes, even though she knew she wouldn't see anything, just unsightly darkness. Opening her eyes, the girl squeezed her eyes shut sharply, the bright light cut them painfully. Realizing what had happened, she began to slowly open her eyes. Opening her eyes, she saw her husband's face, and cried out in surprise. Shikamaru, who instantly woke up, began to look around in fright, trying to figure out what made Naruko scream. Naruko, has something happened? Is something hurting you, Shikamaru? I see you, she whispered it on the verge of audibility. What? Shikamaru turned to her, stumbled upon the brown eyes of his beloved. They were not empty, like a blind man's, they were the living eyes of a seeing person. Do you see Naruko? Yes. I see you, I see the light, the sun outside the window, a beautiful room in blue tones and red curtains on these windows. I see Shikamaru. I see. The ringing, happy girlish laughter scattered around the room. A second later, another happy one was added to this laughter. Shikamaru and Naruko smiled and laughed, rejoicing at this miracle. After all, now they are together, Naruko sees and they love each other. This means that everything will be fine in the future, they believed in it. They believed with all their heart that that's the end of it.